Biden world's starting to crack, and the big guys getting the whistle blown on them. Secret Service agents are coming out of the woodwork, saying behind the scenes, Joe was even worse than we thought.
This Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House. I mean, the guy literally stumbling around in the White House residence couldn't find his way out of his own closet. The president of the United States. I mean, this is outrageous.
The leader of the free world couldn't find his way out of the closet, and no one noticed. Joe was locked inside while his team was out running the country. The speaker said when he went to the White House, Biden didn't even know what he'd signed off on.
Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me, stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed.
Joe Biden didn't even know what the Biden foreign policy was. That's how bad it was. Democrats all knew Joe's brain was fried.
There's a senator, Senator Bennett from Colorado, who went to an event in June 2024 where Biden seemed non-functioning, and he left that event, and this is in the book, thinking this is why our border policy, our immigration policy is such a mess. This guy can't manage the portfolio. There are competing groups within the administration, and he's not engaged for whatever reason, and that's why this policy is such a mess.
Did Biden even know the border was wide open? If he didn't, then who opened it? That's what the hearings will find out. Bill Maher, he's wondering why Democrats even let Joe run.
If you really thought Trump was the existential threat he was, then, to your point earlier, why put up Biden? If it was really that important. I mean, Democrats will never be able to answer that question. If that election was really that important, you couldn't summon the courage to confront an old man that your time has passed?
Oh, that's a good question.
Democrats knew Joe was fried back in 2020, and they all backed him up. On the campaign trail, he was forgetting the names of aides he'd worked with for 40 years. Staffers were alarmed and would whisper how the big guy wasn't 100%. They thought it was a miracle that COVID happened and Joe went into the bunker. But Slick Willie swears for 4 years he didn't know a thing.
Did you ever have a moment with him where you thought maybe he was unfit to run for president? No.
I thought he was a good president. The only concern I thought he had to deal with was, could anybody do that job until they were 86? And we'd had several long talks. I had never seen him and walked away thinking he can't do this anymore. He was always on top of his brief.
You never saw any cognitive decline?
So I didn't know anything about any of this, and I haven't read the book. I saw President Biden not very long ago, and I thought he was in good shape.
We knew Bubba was in great shape when he was president. He never wandered into a closet alone. Clinton's still keeping up with the hoax. Chuck Todd says, no, not so fast.
There's almost an eagerness to blame the press without looking at who should be blamed here, and it's the leadership and, frankly, the members of the Biden administration and the leadership of the Democratic Party, who they're the ones that lied. Look, at the end of the day, no journalist is as good as their sources. At the end of the day, the Democratic Party lied to the American people. The leadership of the party lied to the American people. And that's where this scandal should be centered.
Todd says he needed sources to know Biden was cooked. No. He needed a TV. This is like the emperor with no clothes. Democrats all just pretended they didn't notice. The whole country knew Joe was exposed, and the Democrat Party's paying a price.
Which party is better described as the party with strong leaders? Look at this.
Wow.
16% of Americans say Democrats, 40% say that of the Republican Party. Now, overall, no party's doing great. Lots of Americans say neither of these qualities apply to either party. But look at how much worse off the Democrats are. A party that gets things done. Only 19% of Americans say that about the Democrats. So among Democrats and Democratic leaners, 32% say Democrats are the party with strong leaders. I mean, of their own kind.
Joe was weak, and the only action the party took in 4 years was whacking him. Besides that, they got nothing done. Clinton's in denial, Barack's in hiding, and Nancy's got a broken hip. The only one still out there is Chuck, but he can't even get his talking points straight.
Not made it clear that we're in Zelensky's corner. I hope on Ukraine the president's not the taco president. Trump always loses the fight. Trump always cops out, is what taco stands for.
Schumer can't even get through a book tour without getting heckled.
The Jewish deli has a rock thrown through it because it's...
Chuck Schumer! You care more about a fake anti-Semitism crisis than a real Holocaust to the Palestinian people! Come on. There's a real Holocaust happening in Gaza!
You have blood in your hands! You're a liar! A filthy liar! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! You have blood on your hands! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Democrats are yelling the same slogans as terrorists. That's got to drive Chuck nuts. The senator doesn't even fight back. He just sits there with his legs crossed. His term's up in 26. It's time for him to go. And everyone knows it.
I don't think that they can continue with the current elites that are in power. I don't think with Pelosi.
They got to go.
They've lost the people.
I just told Chris this. These are culture wars.
Yeah, and the Democrats just don't know how to play culture. And you want to know why they don't know? Because they're not in the culture. They're in Ivy League institutions. They're on the Upper East Side of New York. They're handing out at fancy dinners. They're patting themselves on the back on golf courses. They are not in with the regular people. Now, you could say the same thing about Trump. You could say on paper the exact same thing about Trump and the Republicans, but then why do they keep doing this? Because they are in culture.
Democrats are scrambling to find a new face. And the only thing they can agree on is no more Kamala. Some don't even want her to run for California governor. Tim Walz was out campaigning in South Carolina this weekend, where he quoted MLK Jr., ate fried fish with hot sauce, and thanked blacks. And then Tampon said Democrats need to be bigger bullies.
I'm getting called out on this because I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is. Oh. The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully, and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them, and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back. You push back.
After arresting him, calling him a Nazi, and shooting him, I'm worried about what being a bigger bully looks like. Instead of fighting Trump, Tampon should fight for you. Democrats don't even want kids in schools to take tests because it's not equitable, but they want to make Trump take one.
If we want to talk about something, we need to talk about whether or not he really has the cognitive ability because he is the current sitting president, and whether or not the 25th Amendment should apply is something that maybe we should be digging into.
Eric Swalwell's trying to win back the culture with F-bombs and tacos.
Hey, Congressman.
Can I help you?
What the is up with Trump always chickening out on tariffs?
Tacos are an inside joke that doesn't work because you have to explain it. Plus, like Greg said, everyone loves tacos. NBC wants Democrats to start looking to win men over at the gym. First, they said gym bros were white supremacists, and now they want their vote. If Democrats want to win men, they should be men. Don't just hand out flyers outside of Equinox. Go inside and lift. The Raging Cajun says if Democrats want to win, it's the English, stupid.
I'm a speak English man. Okay, no one uses the word oligarch in the checkout counter at Walmart, okay? Just use the language that the people use and then relate to them. The most important thing is we now know we have a problem. And I don't think we can go and solve the problem or address the problem by acting like we bros in some pool hall or sitting around the street, playing numbers or something. We could address it by talking about the struggles that young people and young men go through.
Speak English, lift weights, and come out of the closet. Don't fall asleep in there like Joe. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.